Elephant vanished for 9 years. Then she returned with her calf to find the man who saved her. For nearly a decade, Ella the elephant was gone, leaving a man heartbroken and searching for his lost friend. But when she finally returned, she came back with her calf, a living testament to the bond they once shared. This is a remarkable story of reunion that transcends time and distance, reminding us all of the unbreakable connections between man and beast. Prepare to be moved by a tale of love, resilience, and the power of hope. In a small village nestled at the edge of a vast jungle, there lived a compassionate man named Sam. Known throughout the village for his unwavering dedication to wildlife rescue, Sam had always felt a deep connection to the creatures of the wild. His days were spent patrolling the thick underbrush, always on the lookout for animals in need of help. One fateful afternoon, while traversing a familiar path, he stumbled upon a sight that would change his life forever. A wounded elephant, her spirit dimmed and her body battered, lay helpless among the trees. This was Ella, an elephant in desperate need of help and companionship. The moment Sam laid eyes on her, his heart sank. Ella was clearly in pain, her large brown eyes filled with fear and loss. Without hesitation, he approached her slowly, speaking softly to reassure her. Despite her injuries, there was a spark of intelligence and trust in her gaze that gave him hope. Carefully, Sam assessed her wounds, noting the deep cuts and bruises that marred her once majestic form. It was clear that she had suffered greatly, possibly at the hands of poachers or from the harsh realities of survival in the wild. With determination, Sam decided to bring Ella back to his home, a modest hut filled with the sounds of nature and the warmth of compassion. As he led her through the village, whispers of doubt echoed around them. "What is he thinking?" some villagers murmured, shaking their heads. "A wild elephant will bring nothing but trouble." Their skepticism was palpable, but Sam was undeterred. He understood the risks, yet he was driven by a profound sense of responsibility and empathy. Ella needed him, and he would do everything in his power to help her heal. Once back at his home, Sam devoted himself to her recovery. He spent countless nights tending to her wounds, applying herbal remedies, and ensuring she had plenty of food and fresh water. Little by little, he forged a bond that transcended their differences. As Ella began to heal physically, her spirit also started to lift. She would respond to his voice, her ears perked up when he called her name, and her deep, rumbling calls began to resonate with a newfound strength. Sam would sit beside her for hours, reading aloud, sharing stories, and playing soothing music, creating a sanctuary of peace and love. However, lurking in the shadows were dangers that Sam couldn't ignore. Rumors of poachers had begun to circulate in the village, and he knew they would stop at nothing to exploit the very jungle that had become Ella's sanctuary. Sam sensed danger creeping closer, not just for Ella, but for himself as well. Late at night, he would often lie awake, listening to the sounds of the jungle, his heart heavy with worry. He knew that keeping Ella safe would require vigilance and courage, qualities he was prepared to summon. Days turned into weeks, and with Sam's unwavering care, Ella began to heal. Her spirit reignited, and soon she was not just surviving, but thriving. The villagers began to see a different side of the wild creature. They witnessed the trust and love blossoming between her and Sam. Children who once feared her now gathered to watch from a distance, their eyes wide with wonder as they observed the gentle giant. Sam shared his journey with the villagers, hoping to foster understanding and compassion for Ella and all wildlife. But just as their bond reached its peak, an ominous event threatened to shatter their newfound happiness. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a group of men entered the jungle with malicious intent. Sam's heart raced as he spotted them from a distance, their silhouettes stark against the fading light. He knew he had to act quickly to protect Ella and the life they had built together. Just when it seemed that all was well, a night of chaos would change everything, leaving Sam to fight fiercely for the bond he cherished and the life he had promised to protect. The jungle was alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, a symphony of chirps, howls, and rustling leaves that filled the air with a sense of mystery and anticipation. Sam was on high alert that evening, his instincts honed by weeks of vigilance and connection with the wild. Ella, now a vital part of his life, was resting peacefully nearby, her massive body silhouetted against the soft glow of the moonlight filtering through the trees. The bond they had forged was palpable. He could sense her presence even in the stillness of the night, a comforting reminder of their shared journey. As the hours passed, a sense of unease settled over Sam. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The usual chorus of the jungle, which usually seemed vibrant and full of life, appeared muted tonight, as if the animals themselves were holding their breath in anticipation of something terrible about to unfold. Suddenly, the distant sound of voices broke through the stillness, sending a chill down Sam's spine. He recognized the tone. It was the unmistakable chatter of men, their laughter laced with malice and intent. Sam's heart raced as he peered through the foliage, his breath hitching in his throat. What he saw sent shockwaves through him. A group of poachers, armed and menacing, crept through the underbrush, their eyes gleaming with greed. They were intent on capturing Ella, the very creature he had fought so hard to save. Panic surged through Sam's veins, a mix of fear and determination flooding his senses. He couldn't let them take her. He wouldn't. He knew that if they succeeded, not only would Ella be taken from him, but her life would be in grave danger. His mind raced, thoughts colliding as he considered the options available to him. Sam quickly formulated a plan. He had to protect Ella and drive the poachers away without putting either of them in harm's way. He silently made his way back to Ella, who was still blissfully unaware of the impending danger. Kneeling beside her, he gently caressed her trunk, whispering words of comfort. "Stay quiet, girl. I need you to trust me." Ella responded with a soft rumble, her eyes wide and trusting, as if she understood the gravity of the situation and the bond they shared. With a deep breath, Sam gathered his courage and positioned himself strategically between Ella and the approaching thugs, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew he had to act quickly. As the poachers drew closer, he picked up a nearby branch, using it to create noise in the underbrush, hoping to distract them. The plan worked momentarily. The poachers paused, their heads snapping in his direction, suspicion etched across their faces. Their crude laughter ceased, replaced by the tension of uncertainty. "Hey, over here!" Sam shouted, trying to sound as confident as possible. "You're trespassing. Leave now, or you'll regret it." His voice echoed through the trees, carrying a mixture of authority and desperation. For a moment, he felt powerful, willing to confront the danger head-on for the sake of his friend, fueled by a fierce protectiveness that surged within him. The poachers, startled by the unexpected presence, began to advance toward him, their intentions clear. "What do we have here?" One of them sneered, brandishing a crude weapon, a glint of menace in his eyes. "Just a fool trying to play hero." The others laughed, a harsh and mocking sound that cut through the tension in the air. Sam's heart raced, but he stood his ground. "This is your only warning," he declared, trying to sound more imposing than he felt. Leave this place, and don't come back. You won't find what you're looking for here." He could hear Ella shifting behind him, her large frame moving restlessly as she sensed the tension in the air, her instincts alerting her to the danger that lurked nearby. But the poachers were undeterred. "We're just here to make a little money, friend," another one of them said, smirking as he stepped closer, his intent clearly greedy. And from the looks of it, that elephant's worth quite a bit. The threat in his words sent a tremor of fear through Sam, but he couldn't let them see any weakness. Realizing that words alone wouldn't be enough, Sam quickly scanned the area for anything he could use to his advantage. He spotted a pile of old logs nearby and suddenly had an idea. With a swift motion, he grabbed a handful of small stones and hurled them at the logs, creating a loud crash that echoed through the jungle. The noise startled the poachers, causing them to look away momentarily, and Sam seized the opportunity. "Run, Ella!" Sam yelled, urging her to move. He didn't need to tell her twice. Ella, sensing the urgency in his voice, trumpeted loudly and charged through the underbrush, her massive form plowing through the trees with a power that belied her earlier frailty. Sam sprinted after her, adrenaline pumping through his veins, his heart racing with a mixture of fear and determination. He felt the weight of their shared history, the bond they had created, and it fueled his resolve to keep her safe. But the poachers were not far behind. Sam could hear their shouts and the sound of branches cracking under their feet as they pursued them, their malicious intent clear. He knew they wouldn't give up easily, and time was running out. As they raced deeper into the jungle, Sam led Ella toward a familiar clearing, a place where they often spent quiet afternoons together, a sanctuary for both of them. It was a narrow path flanked by dense foliage, one that offered a chance for escape. Just as they reached the clearing, Sam turned to face the poachers, his heart pounding in his chest. He was ready to defend Ella with everything he had. "You'll regret this," one of the poachers called out, brandishing his weapon as he moved closer, a predatory gleam in his eyes. In that moment, Sam felt a surge of strength, bolstered by the bond he shared with Ella. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," he shouted back, standing firm, a warrior ready to protect his friend. "I won't let you take her." As the confrontation escalated, the jungle around them seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the outcome of this fateful night. Sam's mind raced as he prepared for whatever might come next, knowing that the safety of his beloved friend depended on his actions in the moments to come. The air was charged with tension, and he could feel the weight of the world resting on his shoulders. He was determined to fight, to protect, and to ensure that the bond they had forged would not be broken. With every heartbeat, Sam understood the stakes. This was not just a battle for survival. It was a test of loyalty, courage, and love. As he squared his shoulders and readied himself for the confrontation ahead, he knew he would do whatever it took to keep Ella safe, for their bond was worth fighting for. And he was prepared to face the darkness that threatened to tear them apart. The night was thick with tension, a palpable electricity that hung in the air as the confrontation reached its peak. Sam stood resolute, his heart pounding in his chest as he faced the poachers, who were now closing in with malicious intent. The moon cast eerie shadows, illuminating the determination etched on his face and the fierce loyalty shining in Ella's eyes as she stood protectively behind him, her massive frame a testament to her strength. "Back off!" Sam shouted, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. Ella trumpeted in response, a deep, resonant sound that echoed through the clearing, signaling her readiness to defend her newfound friend. The poachers hesitated, momentarily taken aback by the powerful presence of the elephant. They had underestimated the bond between Sam and Ella, and now the stakes had never been higher. One of the poachers, a burly man with a scar running down his cheek, stepped forward, brandishing his weapon with a menacing smirk. "You think you can protect that beast?" he taunted, his voice dripping with contempt. "You're just a man. What can you do against us?" His words were laced with arrogance, igniting a fire within Sam. Sam felt a rush of anger at the man's words, but he knew that responding with rage would only escalate the situation. Instead, he focused on the bond he shared with Ella, drawing strength from their connection. "I may be just one man," he replied, his voice steady and firm, "but I will fight for her freedom. I won't let you take her away from her home." His words rang true, fueled by the countless hours they had spent together, forming a friendship that transcended species. With that, Sam grabbed another branch from the ground, using it like a weapon, ready to defend Ella. The poachers laughed at his bravado, their eyes glinting with malice. But Sam was undeterred. He had fought for Ella's life before, and he would do it again. As the poachers advanced, Sam swung the branch, aiming to create a barrier between them and Ella. He felt the weight of responsibility resting heavily on his shoulders, knowing that he was not just fighting for his friend, but for the freedom of all creatures that roamed the jungle. The first poacher lunged at him, and Sam dodged just in time, his instincts kicking in. He struck back with the branch, catching the man on the shoulder and sending him stumbling backward with a grunt of surprise. The other poachers rushed forward, their eyes filled with fury at Sam's defiance. Ella, sensing the chaos, charged forward, her massive form shaking the ground beneath her. With a fierce trumpeting call, she positioned herself between Sam and the approaching threats, demonstrating her protective instincts. "Stay back," Sam shouted, his voice a mixture of fear and determination. He had never seen Ella so fierce, and her presence gave him the courage he needed. The poachers hesitated, clearly taken aback by the sight of the formidable elephant ready to defend her newfound family. The jungle seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation as the standoff continued. "Get her!" the scarred man yelled, rallying his companions. "We can't let this fool get away." The poachers lunged forward again, but Sam and Ella were ready. With each move, they danced together, a synchronized display of trust and strength. Sam swung the branch, while Ella used her sheer size and power to create a barrier, her trunk swinging as she aimed to ward off the attackers. In the midst of the chaos, Sam's mind raced. He remembered the stories he had heard about elephants and their incredible intelligence. They were not just beasts of burden. They were guardians of the forest, protectors of their kin. Sam had to tap into that spirit. "Ella, we have to move," he called out, urging her to back away toward the dense trees lining the clearing. They could use the jungle to their advantage. With a swift movement, Sam led Ella deeper into the underbrush, where the thick foliage provided cover. The poachers were close behind, their anger fueling their pursuit. As they broke through the trees, Sam could hear the sound of the men crashing through the underbrush, but he refused to look back. He focused on the path ahead, knowing that every moment counted. Ella moved with surprising agility for her size, her powerful legs propelling her forward as they navigated the tangled roots and branches. Sam could feel the adrenaline surging through him, a mixture of fear and exhilaration driving him onward. "We can do this, Ella," he urged, glancing back to see if the poachers were still in pursuit. The moonlight broke through the trees, illuminating their path as they dashed forward. But the sounds of their pursuers grew louder, echoing through the night. Finally, they burst into a small clearing that Sam recognized. The entrance to the cave loomed before them, dark and foreboding. "This way," he urged, leading Ella toward the cave's mouth. They slipped inside just as the shouts of the poachers grew nearer, the darkness enveloping them like a protective shroud. Inside the cave, the air was cool and damp. Sam paused to catch his breath, the sound of his heart pounding in his chest, almost deafening in the silence that followed. He glanced at Ella, who stood beside him, her large eyes reflecting the dim light. "We did it, girl," he whispered, relief flooding through him. "We're safe for now." But even as he said the words, a sense of dread settled in his stomach. They couldn't afford to let their guard down. The poachers would surely follow. But they couldn't rest for long. Sam knew the poachers would be searching for them, and they needed to come up with a plan. As he peered deeper into the cave, he could see shadows dancing on the walls, illuminated by the faint light filtering through the entrance. The cave was expansive, with twists and turns that could provide an escape route. "We need to find another way out," Sam said, determination creeping into his voice. "If we can slip past them, we might find safety." "Ella, stay close," he whispered, moving cautiously into the darkness. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool air wash over him as he ventured further inside. Ella following closely behind, her presence a comforting reminder of their bond. Together, they navigated the winding tunnels, Sam's heart filled with hope. If they could find another way out, perhaps they could outsmart the poachers and ensure Ella's safety. As they explored the cave, Sam's mind raced with thoughts of Ella's safety and the bond they had forged. He knew that their fight was far from over, but he also felt a renewed sense of determination. They were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for each other, for the friendship that had blossomed in the face of adversity. "Look, Ella," Sam exclaimed as they came upon a small chamber filled with glittering stalactites. It was a breathtaking sight, the cave illuminated by shimmering reflections of light. For a moment, he forgot their perilous situation, captivated by the beauty of the underground world. "If only we had time to explore," he mused aloud. But then he remembered their danger and shook his head, refocusing on their escape. Deeper into the cave, they finally found a narrow passage that led outside, a glimmer of light at the end, promising freedom. "This way, Ella," Sam urged, excitement bubbling within him. They could escape the poachers and find a new sanctuary, a place where they could live without fear. As they made their way toward the light, Sam felt a surge of hope, knowing that their journey was far from over. But together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they approached the exit, Sam felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach. They needed to be cautious. The poachers could be lurking nearby, ready to pounce at the slightest sound. "Let's wait a moment," he suggested, peering cautiously out of the cave entrance. The jungle stretched before them, a vast expanse of shadows and whispers. He took a deep breath, listening intently for any signs of their pursuers. After a few tense moments, Sam turned to Ella, who remained alert, her ears twitching as she scanned the surroundings. "I think it's clear," he said, more to reassure himself than anything. "Let's move quietly." With a firm but gentle nudge, he urged Ella forward, stepping out into the cool night air. The moonlight bathed the clearing in silver, illuminating their path as they prepared to make their escape. But just as they began to move, a rustling sound echoed from behind them. Sam's heart raced as he turned, fear gripping him once more. The poachers had followed them. "Ella, quick!" he whispered urgently, urging her to move faster. They had to find cover before the men caught up to them. With a powerful leap, Ella bolted into the dense underbrush, her instincts guiding her as they dashed through the jungle. Sam kept pace alongside her, adrenaline propelling them forward. The sounds of pursuit grew louder behind them, and Sam could hear the poachers shouting angrily, their frustration evident as they struggled to navigate the thick foliage. "This way!" Sam called to Ella, leading her toward a thicket of trees that could provide them with cover. As they ducked into the thick vegetation, Sam's mind raced with strategies for their escape. He knew they couldn't keep running forever. They had to find a way to outsmart their pursuers. "We need to create a diversion," he whispered to Ella, who stood beside him, her breathing heavy but steady. "If we can confuse them, we might buy ourselves some time." With determination, Sam began to formulate a plan. He recalled the stories of how elephants could uproot trees and create loud noises to scare off predators. "Ella, if you can make some noise, it might give us the chance we need," he suggested, looking into her intelligent eyes. She seemed to understand. Her trunk raised as if she was ready to follow his command. Taking a deep breath, Sam gestured toward a nearby tree. "Let's do this," he encouraged, his heart racing as he prepared to put their plan into action. With a powerful swing of her trunk, Ella struck the tree, creating a thunderous crash that reverberated through the jungle. The sound echoed ominously, startling birds from their perches and sending animals scurrying for cover. The poachers, caught off guard by the sudden noise, paused in their pursuit, confusion replacing their relentless anger. "What was that?" one of them shouted, glancing nervously around the jungle. Sam seized the moment, his pulse quickening as he urged Ella to move in the opposite direction of the sound. "Now, let's go," he shouted, sprinting alongside her as they navigated through the underbrush. The diversion had worked, giving them a precious window of opportunity to escape. As they dashed through the foliage, Sam felt a renewed sense of hope. They were not just running. They were outsmarting their enemies. With each step, he could feel the bond between him and Ella strengthening, a testament to their shared resilience and determination. As they continued deeper into the jungle, the sounds of the poachers faded, replaced by the tranquil symphony of the night. The air was filled with the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers, a reminder of the beauty that surrounded them even in the face of danger. Sam glanced at Ella, who was moving with grace and confidence, her massive form a symbol of strength and survival. "We did it, girl," Sam breathed, a smile breaking across his face as they paused to catch their breath. "We're free." But even as he spoke, he knew their journey was not over. They had escaped the immediate threat, but the poachers would not give up easily. He needed to find a safe place for them to regroup and plan their next steps. "Let's head toward the river," Sam suggested, recalling the map of the jungle that he had memorized over the years. "We can find shelter near the water, and it will be easier to hide there." Ella seemed to understand, her ears flicking as she nodded in agreement. And together they set off toward the sound of rushing water, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The bond between them had grown stronger, forged in the fires of adversity. They were no longer just a man and an elephant. They were allies, partners in a fight for survival. As they moved through the jungle, Sam felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He was determined to protect Ella, to ensure her freedom, and to fight against those who sought to harm her and exploit the beauty of the wild. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but with Ella by his side, Sam felt ready to face whatever came their way. Together, they would navigate the challenges of the jungle, and together, they would reclaim the freedom that was rightfully theirs. As they moved deeper into the jungle, the sounds of the night began to change. The cacophony of chirping insects and rustling leaves was now intermingled with the distant rush of water. Sam felt a renewed sense of hope as they approached the river, its soothing sounds promising safety and sanctuary. The moonlight shimmered on the water's surface, casting a silvery glow that illuminated their path. "Just a little further, Ella," Sam encouraged, glancing back at the massive elephant who trudged alongside him. Her presence was a reassuring force, a reminder of their shared strength and resilience. They had come so far together, and now, with the river in sight, he felt as if freedom was within their grasp. As they reached the riverbank, Sam took a moment to appreciate the beauty of their surroundings. The water flowed swiftly, its surface reflecting the moonlight like a blanket of stars. Towering trees lined the banks, their roots reaching down into the water, creating natural hiding spots. "This is perfect," he said, scanning the area for a suitable place to rest. "We can hide here and regroup." Ella stepped closer to the water's edge, her large body casting a shadow on the riverbank. Sam watched as she dipped her trunk into the cool water, taking a long drink. The sight filled him with a sense of calm. They had escaped the immediate threat of the poachers, but he knew they couldn't let their guard down just yet. "We need to find a safe spot," he reminded Ella, gently patting her side. "Let's see if we can find a place where we can stay hidden." Together, they moved along the bank, searching for a thicket dense enough to provide cover. Sam's heart raced with anticipation. They were in a familiar territory, and he felt a sense of familiarity wash over him. After a short walk, they came across a cluster of large ferns that created a natural barrier. "This will do nicely," he decided, leading Ella into the protective embrace of the greenery. As they settled into their hiding spot, Sam felt the weight of their escape begin to lift. He took a deep breath, allowing the cool night air to fill his lungs, and for a moment, he allowed himself to relax. "Okay, girl," he said softly, looking into Ella's wise eyes. "We need to come up with a plan. The poachers will be looking for us, and we have to make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." He could see the concern in her gaze, and he knew that she understood the gravity of their situation. As they rested, Sam began to brainstorm ideas. He thought about the poachers and their motivations, greed and the desire for profit. If we can find a way to turn the tables on them, we might be able to protect ourselves and any other animals they might target. He mused aloud. We could set up traps or use the landscape to our advantage. Ella shifted beside him, her ears flicking thoughtfully. Sam smiled, appreciating her presence. "You know, I've read that elephants can communicate with each other over great distances. If we could reach out to other animals in the area, maybe we could gather support. We're not alone in this fight." The idea sparked hope within him, and he felt invigorated by the thought of rallying the jungle's inhabitants. As the night wore on, Sam took the opportunity to observe the river. The gentle current flowed steadily, a reminder of the passage of time and the resilience of nature. He watched as fireflies danced in the air, their soft glow illuminating the darkness. "It's beautiful here, isn't it?" he said, turning to Ella. "This jungle is filled with life and wonder. We can't let anyone destroy it." Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes nearby caught his attention, and his heart raced as he turned to see what it was. To his relief, a small group of animals emerged from the underbrush. A family of deer, their eyes wide with curiosity. They approached cautiously, sensing the peaceful energy emanating from Sam and Ella. "Hey there, friends," Sam called softly, lowering his voice to avoid startling them. "We mean you no harm." The deer paused, their ears twitching as they listened. One of them, a young doe, stepped forward, her delicate frame trembling slightly. "What brings you to this part of the jungle?" she asked, her voice soft and melodic. "We've heard whispers of poachers lurking nearby." "We're on the run from them," Sam explained, his heart racing at the prospect of enlisting their help. "I'm Sam, and this is Ella. We're trying to protect ourselves and the other animals in the jungle. They want to capture Ella and exploit her for profit." The doe's eyes widened in understanding, and she nodded. "We've seen their kind before. They don't care about the balance of nature. They only care about what they can take. But you're not alone. We can help you." Sam felt a surge of gratitude and hope. "Really? You'd be willing to join us?" he asked, his voice filled with excitement. The doe nodded, and soon the other deer moved closer, forming a small circle around Sam and Ella. "We know the jungle well," the doe explained. "We can guide you and help set up defenses against the poachers. We're all in this together." Sam felt a warmth spread through him at her words. The jungle was alive with potential allies, and together they could create a formidable force. As the group discussed their plans, Sam felt a sense of camaraderie blossom. They shared stories of their experiences, each animal contributing ideas and strategies. The deer spoke of pathways through the jungle that could be used for ambushes, while Ella listened intently, her large ears perked up. Sam felt a deep appreciation for the support of his new friends. "We should establish a lookout," Sam suggested, his mind racing with possibilities. "If we have eyes on the poachers, we can plan our next move more effectively." The deer agreed, and they began to strategize, mapping out routes and potential hiding spots. As the first light of dawn began to break through the trees, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. The jungle was waking up, and with it, the promise of a new day filled with hope. "Today is the day we take a stand," he declared, determination shining in his eyes. "Together, we will protect our home." With the support of Ella and their new allies, Sam felt invincible. They were no longer just a man and an elephant. They were part of a larger community, united by a common goal. As they prepared for the challenges ahead, Sam knew that their fight was far from over. But with courage and collaboration, they would face whatever lay ahead. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting golden rays over the jungle, Sam and the group of deer gathered their thoughts and ideas. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. They were ready to implement their plan against the poachers. Sam felt a sense of unity among the animals, a shared determination that made him believe they could truly make a difference. "First, we need to establish communication," Sam began, addressing the group. "We need to know where the poachers are at all times and coordinate our efforts. Ella, your size and strength will be invaluable in scaring them off if we catch them unaware." The elephant nodded, her large eyes filled with understanding and resolve. The doe, who had introduced herself as Lila, spoke up. "We can set up lookout points along the riverbank and the paths leading into the jungle. We have to be vigilant, especially during the poachers' usual hunting hours." The other deer nodded in agreement. Their ears perked up as they listened intently, sensing the gravity of their situation. Sam turned to Ella, who was already scanning the environment with her keen senses. "Can you help us create a barrier around the river? It could act as a natural defense." Ella trumpeted softly, as if to say she was ready to help. "If we can make it difficult for them to approach, we can protect the animals that rely on this water source." The thought of safeguarding their precious resource filled Sam with determination. With that, they split into teams. Sam joined Lila and a couple of other deer to scout the area for suitable lookout points. "We'll need to be strategic about this," Sam said, pointing to a nearby tree with thick branches. "If we can position ourselves here, we'll have a clear view of the river and the paths leading in." He felt a sense of excitement as they discussed potential vantage points, the thrill of planning their defense invigorating him. While the deer scouted for lookout spots, Ella began to work on the barrier along the riverbank. Using her powerful trunk, she uprooted small trees and moved large rocks, creating a natural blockade that would make it difficult for the poachers to approach without being seen. The ground shook slightly with every movement she made, a reminder of her strength and the power they had at their disposal. "Let's make sure the barrier isn't just an obstacle, but also a way to confuse them," Sam suggested, envisioning a labyrinth of branches and foliage that would hide their true positions. "If we can create false trails, we might lead them away from our hiding spots." Ella responded with a low rumble, as if she understood the importance of their strategy. As the sun climbed higher, the group regrouped to discuss their findings. Sam stood in the center of the circle, flanked by Ella and Lila. "Tomorrow, we put our plan into action," he declared, his voice strong and resolute. "We will protect our home and each other. We have the strength of numbers and the element of surprise on our side. Together, we can drive the poachers away and ensure that this jungle remains a safe haven for all its inhabitants." The group nodded, their faces filled with determination. Sam could see the fire in their eyes, a reflection of their commitment to the cause. They were ready to stand together against the threats that loomed over them. As dusk approached, the animals gathered for one final meeting. "We should also think about distractions," Sam added, as they sat in a circle beneath the sprawling branches of a tree. "If we can draw the poachers into one area while we remain hidden in another, we could give ourselves a significant advantage." Lila nodded thoughtfully. "We can use the natural sounds of the jungle to our benefit. If I can get some birds to call out from a different direction, it might confuse them. They'll be drawn to the noise, thinking it's another animal." The idea sparked excitement among the group, and they began brainstorming other distractions they could use. "Finn, you mentioned setting traps," Sam said, turning to the young buck. "Can you gather some vines and branches? We can create some snares along the paths they're likely to take." Finn's eyes lit up with enthusiasm, and he eagerly agreed, ready to put the plan into action. The air was filled with the sounds of rustling leaves and the occasional trumpeting of Ella as she moved heavy branches into place. Sam felt a deep appreciation for the support of his new friends. Each animal brought their own skills and ideas to the table, creating a tapestry of strategies that would strengthen their defenses. As they worked, Sam couldn't help but think about the poachers and their motivations, greed and the desire for profit. "If we can show them that this jungle is not worth the trouble, they might think twice about returning," he mused aloud. The idea of outsmarting the poachers, rather than just evading them, filled him with a sense of purpose. During their preparations, Sam took a moment to reflect on the bond he had formed with Ella and the other animals. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a battle to protect the very heart of the jungle, a place filled with life and beauty. He felt a sense of responsibility, not just for Ella, but for all the creatures that called this paradise home. As the first light of dawn began to break through the trees, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. The jungle was waking up, and with it, the promise of a new day filled with hope. "Today is the day we take a stand," he declared, determination shining in his eyes. "Together, we will protect our home." With the support of Ella and their new allies, Sam felt invincible. They were no longer just a man and an elephant. They were part of a larger community, united by a common goal. As they prepared for the challenges ahead, Sam knew that their fight was far from over. But with courage and collaboration, they would face whatever lay ahead. The sun climbed higher, and the heat of the day began to settle in. Sam gathered everyone together for a final briefing. "Let's review our positions," he suggested, wanting to ensure everyone knew their roles. Lila, Finn, and the other deer gathered around, eager to solidify their plans. "We'll split into 3 groups," Sam explained. "Lila, you take 2 of the deer and set up the lookout near the river. Finn, you and I will work on the traps along the main path leading to the river. Ella will be our anchor, ready to move wherever she's needed." "Sounds good," Finn replied, his enthusiasm infectious. "And remember," Sam added, "stay quiet and alert. If we see the poachers approaching, we'll signal each other. We need to be ready for anything." As the group dispersed to their respective tasks, Sam felt a surge of adrenaline. The moment they had been preparing for was finally here, and he could sense the excitement and anxiety in the air. They were united in purpose, ready to defend their home. "Ella," Sam said, turning to his loyal companion, "thank you for being by my side through all of this. I couldn't do it without you." Ella responded with a gentle nudge, her warm presence a source of comfort in the midst of uncertainty. As they set up their defenses, Sam took a moment to appreciate the beauty surrounding them. The jungle was vibrant, alive with the sounds of birds, singing and leaves rustling in the breeze. He felt a deep connection to this place, a sense of belonging that filled him with purpose. With their preparations complete, Sam and Ella took their positions near the traps. The sun hung high in the sky, casting dappled shadows across the ground as they waited for the poachers to make their move. The anticipation was almost tangible, a mix of excitement and fear coursing through Sam's veins. "Stay alert, Ella," he whispered, scanning the area for any signs of danger. "We're ready for whatever comes next." The jungle was still, holding its breath as they waited for the inevitable confrontation. In that moment, Sam realized that they were not just fighting for their own survival. They were standing up for the entire jungle, for the balance of nature that had been disrupted by the greed of a few. Together, they would protect their home, and together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The jungle was alive with the sounds of nature. But beneath that vibrant symphony lay a tense stillness as Sam and Ella braced themselves for the impending confrontation. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm glow over the landscape. But Sam felt a chill run down his spine. They were ready, but the anticipation of what was to come weighed heavily on him, a reminder of the stakes involved in their fight for survival. As they waited in their strategic positions, Sam glanced at Ella, who stood nearby, her massive form a reassuring presence. Her large ears flicked back and forth, attuned to the sounds of the jungle, while her dark, intelligent eyes scanned their surroundings. "We've worked hard for this moment," he whispered to her, feeling a deep sense of camaraderie that transcended words. Ella responded with a gentle rumble, her trunk curling slightly as if to say she understood the stakes. With the weight of their mission pressing down on him, Sam took a deep breath, grounding himself in the reality that they were about to defend their home. From their lookout points, Lila and the other deer remained vigilant, their sharp senses attuned to the sounds of the jungle. Sam had assigned them roles that played to their strengths, and he trusted their instincts. Finn, energetic and eager, was positioned nearby, his eyes wide with excitement and determination. The air was thick with tension as they waited, each passing moment stretching out like an eternity, filled with the potential of both danger and triumph. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke the stillness, and Sam's heart raced. He turned to Ella, who was already alert, her trunk raised as she scanned the surroundings. "It could be them," Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper. The jungle around them seemed to hold its breath, the sounds fading as the presence of danger loomed closer. Then, like shadows emerging from the underbrush, a group of men appeared, their silhouettes dark against the vibrant greens of the jungle. The poachers had arrived. Sam recognized the scarred man from their earlier encounter, his face twisted into a sneer of contempt. "I knew we'd find you here," he shouted, his voice echoing through the trees, laden with malice. "You can't hide from us. This jungle will be our hunting ground." Sam's heart pounded in his chest as he glanced at Ella, who stood poised and ready, her instincts kicking in. "Stay calm, Ella," he urged, trying to maintain his composure in the face of danger. "We've got this." The adrenaline surged as he felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. They were not just fighting for their lives. They were fighting for the very soul of the jungle, a place that held their memories, friendships, and the essence of life itself. As the poachers advanced, Sam signaled to Lila and the others. "Now!" he shouted, and the deer sprang into action, darting from their hiding spots to create a distraction. Lila called out, her voice ringing through the trees, "Over here! This way!" The sounds of their movement drew the poachers' attention, and Sam seized the opportunity. "Ella, now!" he commanded, and the elephant charged forward with a powerful trumpeting call that shattered the tense silence. The ground trembled beneath her as she barreled toward the poachers, her size and strength a formidable force. The poachers stumbled back, momentarily taken aback by the sudden onslaught of nature's might. "Get away from her!" Sam shouted, brandishing a branch as he stood beside Ella, his heart racing with determination. The poachers hesitated, their confidence wavering in the face of the determined duo. Sam could see the fear creeping into their eyes, and he felt a surge of hope. They were not alone anymore. They had the strength of the jungle behind them. As the poachers regrouped, shouting orders at one another, Sam and Ella took advantage of their momentary confusion. "Let's show them what we've got," Sam called to Ella, who charged again, her massive form crashing through the underbrush. The poachers scattered, trying to evade the oncoming force of nature, a sight that filled Sam with a fierce sense of pride. Finn and the other deer joined the fray, darting around the poachers' legs and causing chaos. They leaped and bounded, drawing attention away from Sam and Ella, who worked together to push back against their aggressors. Sam swung his branch at the nearest poacher, narrowly missing but making his presence known. "You won't take her. Not today," he shouted, his voice filled with defiance. The jungle erupted into a cacophony of sound as the fight unfolded. The poachers, caught off guard by the unexpected resistance, struggled to regain control. Sam's heart raced as he fought alongside Ella and their newfound allies. Every swing of his branch felt like a step toward freedom, a chance to protect the jungle they all called home. "Keep them busy, Finn," Sam shouted as he saw the young buck darting around, using his agility to confuse the poachers. Finn nimbly dodged their attempts to grab him, his speed a stark contrast to the poachers' clumsy movements. Sam admired the bravery of the deer. They were all in this together, united by a common purpose. Ella, sensing the tide turning, let out another powerful trumpeting call. a sound that resonated through the jungle. It was a rallying cry, a call to arms that echoed among the trees. The poachers faltered, their confidence shaken as they realized they were up against more than just a man and an elephant. They were facing the spirit of the jungle itself. "Stay together," Sam shouted, rallying his allies as they formed a defensive line. "We can't let them break through." He could see the fear in the eyes of the poachers, a mixture of surprise and anger. The jungle had come alive around them, and they were fighting not just for survival, but for the very heart of their home. As the battle raged on, Sam felt a surge of adrenaline and purpose. He dodged a swing from one of the poachers, narrowly escaping a blow that could have sent him sprawling. "We can't let them regroup," he yelled to Ella, who was now using her bulk to block the path of the poachers trying to escape. They were cornered, and Sam knew they had to capitalize on this moment. "Lila, Finn, move in," Sam directed, and the deer advanced, their movements coordinated and precise. With the poachers distracted, Sam and Ella charged forward, pushing them back with renewed vigor. The poachers stumbled, their faces filled with anger and disbelief as they realized they were outmatched. "Who do you think you are?" the scarred man shouted, his voice laced with rage. "You're just a boy and a beast." But his bravado was fading, and Sam could sense the fear creeping in. "We are the guardians of this jungle," Sam declared, his voice strong and unwavering. "And we will not let you destroy it." With one final charge, Ella pushed forward, her strength overwhelming the poachers. They stumbled and fell, fear replacing their confidence as they realized they were outmatched. Sam could see the moment of defeat in their eyes, and a surge of triumph filled him. "This is for the jungle," he shouted, rallying his allies and igniting their spirits. As the poachers retreated, scrambling to escape the chaos they had unleashed, Sam felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had done it. With the combined efforts of Ella and their newfound allies, they had driven the poachers away. The jungle erupted in celebration, a symphony of sounds that echoed through the trees. "Thank you, everyone," Sam shouted, his heart racing with joy. He looked at Ella, who stood proudly beside him, her large body a symbol of strength and resilience. "We did it together." Lila and the other deer gathered around, their faces filled with excitement and relief. "You were incredible, Sam," Lila exclaimed, her eyes shining with admiration. "We couldn't have done it without you and Ella." The group buzzed with energy, recounting their moments of bravery during the confrontation, laughter mingling with relief in the air. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the jungle, Sam felt a deep sense of gratitude. They had faced a formidable threat and emerged victorious. But more importantly, they had forged a bond that would last a lifetime. The jungle was not just a place. It was a community, a living tapestry woven together by the threads of friendship and courage. "We need to stay vigilant," Sam reminded the group, his voice steady as he looked into the eyes of his friends. "The poachers might return, and we can't let our guard down. We've shown them that we won't back down, but we must be ready for whatever comes next." The animals nodded in agreement, their determination renewed. They had fought for their home, and now they knew they could rely on one another in times of trouble. Together, they would protect the jungle and all its inhabitants, standing united against the threats that loomed beyond the trees. As night fell, the jungle came alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures. Sam and Ella stood side by side, gazing out at the vast expanse of their home. The stars twinkled above, a reminder of the beauty that surrounded them. They had faced darkness and emerged victorious, but they also knew that their fight was far from over. With courage and unity, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "Tomorrow, we'll strengthen our defenses," Sam said, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "We'll work together to ensure that no one can disrupt the peace of our home again." The group nodded, their spirits lifted by the promise of a new day. As the night deepened, Sam felt a sense of camaraderie enveloping him. The jungle, once filled with fear and uncertainty, now pulsed with the energy of hope and resilience. Together, they had transformed their fear into strength, forging a bond that would carry them through the challenges yet to come. Before settling down for the night, Sam took a moment to enjoy the tranquility of the jungle. The soft sounds of rustling leaves and distant animal calls filled the air, creating a soothing melody that calmed his racing heart. He glanced at Ella, who stood guard, her silhouette framed against the starry sky. "We did good today, didn't we?" he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Ella turned her head, her large eyes reflecting the starlight, and he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him for her unwavering support. With a sense of peace settling over him, Sam lay down beside Ella, feeling the warmth radiating from her body. As he closed his eyes, he allowed himself to drift into a restful sleep, knowing that they had taken a significant step towards securing their home. The jungle was alive with possibilities, and he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the strength of his friends and the spirit of the wild. In the quiet of the night, as the moon cast silver light across the forest floor, Sam dreamed of a future where the jungle thrived in harmony. He envisioned the vibrant colors of flowers blooming, the laughter of young animals playing, and the whispers of the wind through the trees. This was their home, and he would do everything in his power to protect it. As dawn approached, the first light of day began to filter through the canopy, casting dappled shadows across the ground. Sam awoke to the sounds of the jungle stirring to life around him. The air was fresh, filled with the sweet scent of dew-kissed leaves and blooming flowers. He stretched and rose to his feet, feeling invigorated and ready for the challenges ahead. "Good morning, Ella," Sam said, patting her side affectionately. Ella responded with a low rumble, her eyes sparkling with the promise of a new day. The bond between them felt stronger than ever, forged in the heat of battle and tempered by shared purpose. Gathering the animals together, Sam spoke with conviction. "Today, we will build on our victory. We need to fortify our lookout points and set up more traps. We can't let our guard down just because we drove the poachers away once. We must be prepared for any return they might make." Lila stepped forward, her eyes bright with determination. "I can help with the lookout points. We can use the trees to create a network of signals. If anyone sees the poachers, we can alert each other quickly." "Excellent idea, Lila," Sam replied, feeling a swell of pride in his friends. "And I'll work with Finn to gather more materials for the traps. We'll make sure that our defenses are stronger than ever." As the day unfolded, the jungle echoed with the sounds of teamwork. Sam, Finn, Ella, and the other animals worked tirelessly, weaving together a plan that would ensure their safety. They climbed trees, gathered branches, and created a labyrinth of natural barriers and traps. The energy was infectious, and laughter filled the air as they recounted the previous day's triumph, each story adding to the camaraderie they shared. By midday, they had made significant progress, and Sam could see the determination in everyone's eyes. They were not just protecting themselves. They were safeguarding their home and all the creatures that relied on the jungle for survival. Sam felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. This was not just a fight against poachers. It was a fight for the very essence of life in the jungle. As they took a break, Sam sat on a large rock, watching the others work. He marveled at the beauty of the jungle around him, the vibrant colors of flowers, the rustling of leaves, and the distant calls of birds. It was a paradise worth protecting, a sanctuary for countless creatures. "Hey, Sam!" Finn called out, breaking his reverie. "Look what we found." The young buck bounded over, carrying a long vine and a handful of sturdy branches. "We can use these to make stronger traps." "Great find, Finn," Sam said, clapping him on the shoulder. "Let's get to work." As they resumed their efforts, Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each trap they set, each lookout point they established, was a step toward a safer future for the jungle. They were building not just defenses, but a community, a network of support that would stand strong against any threat. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the jungle, Sam and his friends stood back to admire their work. Lookout points were established, traps were set, and a sense of accomplishment filled the air. They had transformed their fear into action, their determination into a tangible defense. "Tomorrow, we'll be ready," Sam said, a smile spreading across his face. "Together, we'll protect our home." The animals cheered, their spirits lifted by the promise of unity and strength. As night fell, they gathered around a small fire, sharing stories and laughter. The tension from the previous day melted away, replaced by a sense of belonging and purpose. Sam looked around at his friends, Ella, Lila, Finn, and the other deer, and felt a deep sense of gratitude. They were more than allies, they were family. With the stars twinkling overhead and the sounds of the jungle wrapping around them like a comforting blanket, Sam knew that they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would safeguard their home, standing united against any threat that dared to disturb the peace of their beloved jungle.